Hello and welcome to another episode on The Builder Story. The Builder Story is a podcast series where we have conversations with CEOs, entrepreneurs, leaders, change makers in Africa, people building remarkable institutions. And if you've been watching our previous episode, I'm sure it's been nothing but enjoyable and inspirational. Today, I have with me an amazing man. Yes, he is an astute businessman, and I don't want to introduce him to you yet because we have to go on a short break, and after that, we'll be right back. I'm your host, Olaito Ayedu. Powerful voices.
Powerful voices.
Powerful voices.
Powerful voices.
Unforgettable messages. Experience the magic.
All here at Sabirata Studios.
Only here. Just the way you like it.
Just the way you like it.
All here, Sabirata Studios.
My name is Toyin Onigbanjo, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer at August Secrets. Keep watching The Builder Story on Sabi Writers TV. Welcome back. So like I said earlier, I have with me an astute businessman. Yes, he is a man who is technologically driven. He is the CEO and founder of Chisco Express. He is no other person than Mr. Obinna Anyaegbu. I hope I got that correctly, though.
Yeah, you did. You did well, actually.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, tell us about yourself. Who is Mr. Obinna Anyaegbu?
Well, I'm a father of two. I'm someone's husband. And I grew up with 4 other siblings. I'm almost on my 4th decade on Earth. And it's been quite interesting. I mean, I grew up here in Lagos. But I went abroad to do some school, accounting and finance.
Money.
And I also have a master's in logistics and supply chain management. So that's but I grew up basically seeing my parents doing business in general. So I've always sort of been influenced by their story and by what they were doing, because obviously being from a entrepreneurial household, business always came home. So it was, there was customers, and the whole value chain was always around one way or the other. You'd get to see suppliers and customers, and in fact, even goods. We actually had warehouse in our house.
Oh, wow. Warehouse in the house.
Yeah, it was, I would say it's a very good upbringing. That's what sort of made me to love business, and more really about the community that it brings, whether it's staff or it's, I said, vendors and all of that. I saw how intertwined it really is with life. And I think it's entrepreneurship in general. I think it's hard to learn in school. I think sometimes if you don't have access to that one-on-one
real life experiences,
you see it happening. I think that was a little bit of my of my background.
Okay,
generally.
so tell us about being the first son. What does it feel like? Were there expectations? Your family was into the logistic and transportation business. So was that an expectation for you to take over from them, demanding that you do this? Or was that why you went to read accounting, or did that influence your career path?
I mean, there was always, it wasn't, funny enough, it was never actually, put to me that way that, you have to come and take over.
But indirectly, though?
In fact, I think I remember hearing that look, all this, I'm going to sell it all. Don't ever think you're going to come and inherit anything.
That's actually a good one, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, I signed loan documents for my school fees.
Wow.
To get educated, that I was going to pay back. I guess I'm still paying back.
Well, that's interesting. So it wasn't that the mindset was be your own boss, make money for yourself.
So yeah, I would say my dad, Chief Chidi Anyaegbu, who happens to be a mentor as well. He obviously grew from nothing, literally zero. He did the apprenticeship system, which is you work for free for 3 years, and you get enough money he got enough money for a shop rent, and he grew from that to, what he has built today in Chisco Group. So you can imagine, that kind of, so bootstrapping and really just, leveraging on every damn thing you have is something that I saw, so because there was stages of growth, so I was very privileged to actually see that it's actually possible. He also wrote a book called "You Too Can Do It," and I guess that's why he's one of my mentors. So I've seen that it's actually possible to not have formal education, not have a rich uncle or auntie, not have access to connections and things like that, but through focus, diligence, real putting God first, this is what it can bring.
Okay. So let's talk about your role as a father and a husband to someone, like you said. So how have you been able to manage both?
I think it's really an interesting experience, getting married and also having children. I think it adds value to your leadership. I think it has added value to my leadership. You get to learn more about yourself in the process of caring for others.
True.
And I think that is what has sort of rounded me a bit. Of course, I remember myself, 10 years ago, I got married. It's going to be 9 years next year. So it's quite interesting. It's been a great journey. I would advise it to anyone.
Okay, so tell us about Chisco Express. So that's your baby, like you said earlier. So tell us about this new baby you better.
Okay, so Chisco Express actually came out from the need to actually look for, because what is going on, what at that time 2020, well, even before that, 2019, there was, and there still is, more demand for logistics than there is the supply for logistics. And I and some of my colleagues decided to found a company, Chisco Express, to actually solve that problem by leveraging on vehicles that might not maybe have access to that demand. So giving them the demand to them, and getting trucks that are otherwise perhaps will be empty to come and take on that job. And it's been quite overwhelming, in fact, because it's just tough to actually meet up with the demand. But what I think, as you said, it was during the brink of COVID.
Yeah.
It was, that was when, to be honest with you, that's when we realized that logistics is really an essential business, because people need to, no matter if it's war or famine or whatever, people need to eat, people need to drink. So goods must move. So we got the essential badges that we had to use so that people could actually get what they need at home. But I said it's obviously a tough business.
Very tough.
And that's why I wanted to infuse technology into it, to bring the needed visibility and transparency that technology does bring. Technology has actually helped to sort of deepen the possibilities of what is in the industry, and sort of give more confidence and peace of mind to investors that want to own buses and trucks, because there's always going to be people that like that business or want to do that business, but everybody's afraid. Oh no, I don't want, because they'll tell me that the vehicle went this way and it's actually the other way, and all those things. And through our we actually signed up over 5,000 trucks across the country that we use to deliver for the big FMCG clients, like Nigerian breweries, Nestle, people like this, and more. Till today they still have outstanding deliveries, and what we want to do is to bring more vehicles to the road.
Okay, so it's your motivation and inspiration was way bigger than just the normal transport company. You wanted something and actually, considering the advancement in technology these days, any business that doesn't go with the trend would definitely get lost over the years, and it's actually a big one. So in building, what has been your challenges, your biggest challenges so far?
I definitely right now would say infrastructure. Definitely infrastructure, when we start talking about the road network, when we start talking about the state of our, just getting a license, like a driver's license, and being able to believe that this person is actually licensed and is a professional driver. It's not available here now, Unfortunately, with just a small amount of money, you can get a license to say that you can drive a truck or bus, and it's very tough for us because these are obviously huge investments. Some vehicles are above 100 million naira today, and the kind of people that we need to be behind the wheel must be highly responsible, accountable, and very, of course, trained. So, and that's what Chisco Express is also doing. And that's what has informed the tweak in our business model in the past year. We've focused on actually making assets available for drivers that we've trained.
Okay.
So basically making asset financing,
Okay.
giving them the opportunity to own.
There is this, you call them and you're like, I'm in Oshodi, I'm coming to you. And in the next 3 hours, 4 hours, hello, where are you? Actually, I'm on the island, I'm coming. Like, how have you been able to manage that part? I don't want to call it untruthfulness, but there's that constant problem people face, which I feel is one of the challenges in this line of business. So how have you been able to manage that?
To a large extent, I mean, internally, we've obviously, we can track all our vehicles. Now, the solution that we're trying to bring to the market is for the customer to actually see their item coming to them. And so technology helps to reduce lies and helps to reduce, misappropriation and, just lack of information. That way everybody knows that, we can see where you are, so there's no need to be saying what you're saying. So that's actually so matching these assets. So there's a big mismatch a lot of times in Nigeria today, that the people that have the assets might not have the technology. Some people have the technology, but they don't have the assets.
True.
And so there's that gap and that's what we're trying to solve, matching these assets to the technology so that there is that visibility and transparency. And I think it's not just needed in Lagos or Nigeria; it's needed across Africa.
Sure.
And I know that it would, of course, it would help to boost a lot of small businesses, a lot of SMEs. People have products that they want to sell. I know of people that perhaps have even collected money for the delivery, and the customer is on their neck saying, "Where is my item?"
Yeah, it has happened. It has happened to me a lot of time.
So I think this is the bane, So we try to enable that commerce, that speed, and that visibility.
Okay, so Chisco Express is basically trying to solve that. Let me not say driver wahala, but that's actually part of it. The transparency in the logistics and transportation business.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about your leadership style.
I do like to allow people to express themselves. I like to carry people along to understand first of all, we agree objectives, right? So we agree what we want to actually achieve, and I give the people that are working with me an opportunity to use their talent and give me how they're going to achieve what we have agreed as objectives, and to a very large extent give them room to actually do it. And we check these indicators. We agree the performance indicators, and we go through it as much as possible. I work with people that are, of good character. I look more to character than knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
So I believe that knowledge can always be gotten through, but if you are committed, if you are honest, if you are intelligent, yeah, you get the information, you get experience.
Okay.
Because I also went through that, in the beginning of my career when they tell you, you want to get a job and you feel that you can do it, but they tell you 7 years experience. You just came out of university.
That's true. That's really true.
So there's sometimes I think that, information, and that's what we had to do actually. It's quite a complex work. Logistics is quite complex, but we had to codify and put things down into procedures and processes so that, young people can actually have jobs. That's part of why we're doing what we're doing. One vehicle, one truck, for example, can feed over 100 people. So part of why we are trying to expand is obviously to reduce the amount of unemployment that is in the country, and generally reduce the net amount of suffering that is in the world. So that's I would say, generally that's my leadership style.
Okay, so tell me about your leadership style as a father. How have you been able to manage and balance that? You're leading people in the office. Let me just paint a picture now. Maybe there is you're putting a tight corner to make a very difficult or tough decision rather. And while you're doing that, you get a call from the house that, okay, your son needs you or your wife needs you. You need to. How have you been able to manage that?
Actually, nowadays, with technology, I think that things have actually moved quite quickly. I'm running a multi-city business. Now we are also, handling deliveries across different nations when we have international shipments and things like that. So I don't necessarily have to be on ground unless I really have to. But managing family life and work life in general, I would also, obviously, my wife has been amazing at that, helping out on that aspect. It's not, it wouldn't have been as smooth or possible
Sure.
if
That smell,
she
though.
wasn't handling a lot of that. She's definitely more competent than me at handling a lot of that aspect. So really appreciative of that, and that's why God created it like that, so that there's that level of partnership to make that work. But I actually haven't seen much conflict in managing family and home life. I mean, I obviously from my own experience as well, I did see my dad also have that, meetings till like 11, 12, 1, would wait up for him and all of that at that time. So it was I think it's nowadays with technology, I think we are actually able more than before to actually have a healthy balance. Because it affords us, the some level of being able to stay away from physical locations, as opposed to 30 years ago, when if I had to I had to be in Port Harcourt, I had to be in Abuja, I had to be in wherever, so.
Thank God it was even during the time where camels were used as a means of transportation. Probably we're traveling around on camels.
For days. We're all beneficiaries of improvement in technology, and and that's why very much looking at improving technology in general. We're very hoping that we take on more of electric and gas to power our transport, and
that's
that's the smarter way to go. Now that the subsidy is even off, it's a cue for us to just be smarter with our power generally, to power transport and power.
True, but it's actually going to be nice where we drive cars that doesn't use fuel.
Yeah, I believe so. It's definitely more expensive in electric wise. It's the batteries and all of that. Initial cost more expensive, but we're able to, once you are able, first of all, the problem with electric is that the power has to be available first. You can't use a petrol gen, for example, to start powering your electric car. so that is but we actually have abundant gas, and gas is flaring. Gas can give us power, and through that we can power our appliances in general. It's like, a car can, especially a city car, it's an appliance that you can use across town. It makes sense. So we're definitely open, and we also we have a division that is actually into sales of vehicles.
Wow.
Yes, especially gas-powered vehicles.
So let me ask this, actually. I'm just thinking of that in my head right now. So if you are not into transport and logistic business, what would it have been you'd have been doing now?
It's a very, I didn't actually go and study logistics and supply chain management just because maybe I was influenced. You can say I was influenced, but I really, really like products in general. I really like, so I am very interested in everything that has to do with getting raw materials all the way to forming it into a product and distributing it to customers. And that's what the supply chain is generally about. And, basically I understand that full chain.
The process.
Transport is one part of that chain.
Okay.
So, and it's a very important part of the chain, but it's not the only part.
So what would you have? Okay, let's say it's a chain. If it's not transport, what would you have taken?
I would.
No, if you can think of anything from top of your head, it's fine. It's fine. It's just a random question.
Sure. I mean, it's I mean, I would probably be selling something.
It just has to. It has to be business. It has to be business.
Yes, definitely
Business.
has to be selling something. Definitely. One thing that people think that business is separate from life, but actually, business is life in the sense that whatever it is that is your profession, whatever it is that is your service, or whatever it is you're offering, you need to see it as a business. So it's so that you can scale it, expand it, and make more money from it.
Yeah, the money is important.
Yes. Even if you want to do good, whatever it is you want to do in the world, you need money.
Yeah.
If you want to do good in the world, you need a lot of money.
Do good, a lot. Okay, so tell us about the challenges you faced building your business, especially in I don't want to use the word volatile economy like Nigeria, but in this part of the world.
It is a volatile economy. I don't think we can sugarcoat how volatile this economy actually is. The past 3 years to 4 years has been quite hard on the Nigerian all round, from all sectors, from all backgrounds. Everybody felt it. Once you are invested here, you have Naira based operations, you somehow got poorer one way or the other. If your money is in the bank in Naira, and you hear that you used to buy dollars at 400 or 500 and it's now 700, your purchasing power just reduced.
Yeah, automatically.
All your costs, because we don't produce enough as Africans, we actually don't produce enough. We're not as productive as we should be. That's why most of our clients that we actually move products for are actually, foreign-owned companies. Not many Nigerians actually have products. And that's one of the things that I trying to use, our platform to encourage people to actually make products, like have products, because people need products.
True.
We are so import dependent, and it's something that there's no need. The government won't help you to do any of these things. You need to actually, if somebody is importing that thing, you are pretty sure there is a market. There is a huge market. Nigeria is 200 million people, growing at a rate of about 3% every year. And not even just Nigeria, ECOWAS in general, 15, 16 countries,
True.
54 countries across Africa. It's now that the technology is also available. I mean, the world is basically your market. So, yeah. Maybe I would have been manufacturing something.
Oh, now back to the previous question. You'd have been manufacturing something if you were not into transport and logistics.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, you gain clarity, yeah. Now you know your other passion.
No, I did know that, don't worry.
Okay, so tell us the biggest, the toughest decision you've had to make as a leader.
I think we make tough decisions. I mean, all the time. There's been many times. It's very tough to say this is the toughest.
You can stack them up for us. We're ready to listen to your story.
We've had, of course, hard decisions has been part of the process here. We've had to let people go, customers sometimes that is not, businesses that are not adding up. We might have to, let it go completely. there are so many. There's I can't think of any one specific one that's comes to mind as the number one. But
So
yeah,
have you made loss, like tremendous loss, because you had to let a customer go?
I mean, we've actually invested. I think I remember a situation where we invested in about about 55 vehicles. We had to do about 55 vehicles. I think at that time it was but yeah, it was. So what happened was we got these vehicles, and they're basically flatbeds. And the thing with a particular trailer is that if there's an empty leg, and the driver sees that there's an empty, like there's nothing to actually carry, you're going to see a lot of like diversions and crazy. We had to basically shut down that whole operation. We lost a lot of money, and we
55 vehicles.
55. We had to start reconstructing the trailers to be covered bodies. It was a mess. It was a mess, but it was a decision that we had to make. So, it was, yeah, that was probably the biggest single loss that I've seen. I also imported the wrong size of tires.
Wow.
So we basically look after. So when you're looking after a vehicle under the bonnet, bumper to bumper, you have, for a particular vehicle, maybe you need about 1,800 parts, like SKUs, that you're keeping to keep that vehicle on the road. So, but I remember that particular import, there was a mistake in just one number. Yeah,
Wow.
in the part number, and that was I think the person that had bought it from us, because there was just no vehicle in Nigeria that just had that
size. Wow.
So that was
So how did you guys sell it off?
I think they were saying some people had to come from Cameroon or something to come and take it off us. It was I mean, and it stayed quite a while, so it was we had to let it go.
Was it a huge shipment?
Yes, it was a huge shipment.
Wow, that's
yeah. So I mean, there are also stories of a lot of infidelity, and when I say infidelity, I mean fraud.
Oh,
Those kind of things come up as well. I mean, we have to take these decisions every day. We're dealing with it's one of our challenges, obviously, as a country. We unlike maybe in the UK or America, or like first world countries in general, they've just found a way to sort of plan their economy and have a framework and understanding that, look, we're all in this one way or the other, and this is how we share proceeds and how we actually treat our customers. But here it's just like every business owners suffer here more, because
sure.
Sometimes the staff don't see themselves as part of what makes the business to move further and push forward. They just feel like, oh, it's yours. So there's this lack of ownership mentality that is affecting African businesses as a whole. You almost, when you go to Chinese firms or you go to American firms, you go into a room, you will not spot who the owner is. You will not know who the owner is. But in Nigeria, you were more likely to know who the owner is.
Yeah, this is the boss. This is Oga.
So we have that issue, and it's a problem that we can solve. Okay, so but I think that it's a culture that we have to build as a work culture in general. You know, we are used to sole proprietor business in general from the past. You know,
Okay.
one man and his products, and he goes to farms and goes to go and sell his market, finish.
True.
But
That collectiveness.
that
it's not
collective,
there.
our unity is quite poor.
True.
We're not good at unity.
True.
And I think we need to get better so that we can actually build more long-lasting institutions.
Okay, so we'll be going on a short break right now, but just so you know, we'll be coming back to talk about the challenges he has faced, especially the part of people not owning the vision of a business, especially employees. It's, after all, it's not me, that it's not my dream, it's not my vision, it's your business. I'm just there for the money, which usually affects businesses and make most of them crumble. So we'll be back to that, but we want to go on a short break right now. So stay with us. So here's something for you. Do you want to create an audio or video version of your written content? Or maybe you need voiceovers for your adverts, product campaigns, audiobooks, movie trailers, or even a video promo for your next event? Do you also need the right space to host and record your audio or video podcast at a friendly budget? Then, Sabwriter Studios is the go-to place made just for you. At Sabwriter Studios, we provide a wide range of media production services that bring your story to life and save you costs. Book us today for your product promos, audiobooks, book trailers, documentaries, podcast recordings, voiceovers, and many more. Our state-of-the-art studios and editing suite caters to all of your media production needs at an expense you can afford. Call or send us a mail now to get started. Welcome back from that short break. Yeah, so I still have with me in the studios Mr. Obinna Anyaegbu. Yes, and we've been discussing the challenges and struggles in building business in Nigeria, in Africa, and even in the world at large. What entrepreneurs face daily and are still facing, because it's something that's still ongoing, and challenges is just part of life. Of course, we want to know how they overcome all those challenges they face. And before we went on a short break, we spoke about the part where employees, they don't own the vision of a business. They don't really understand what entrepreneurs are going through and what the dream of an entrepreneur is. So just shed more light on that.
Yeah, it's quite an organization in general. You know, it's really about the people. There's no organization that is about whatever the assets or any other thing that they are doing. It's the people that are actually giving the service, that are making the products. So it's what I've found in Nigeria, in my experience, when comparing it to businesses that I have interfaced with in other economic climes. We definitely have that issue. It's not just in my own company, but I see it in other companies across. And I think it's something that we need to be aware of and try to close that gap, where everybody in the organization actually sees themselves as part of that business, part of that service.
True.
You know, package yourself, because you are part of the packaging of the business. That is, you are giving that service. So even if you're not so passionate about, because you can't be passionate about everything, but at least be professional, with what you have actually agreed to. So you cannot, maybe some people might not be passionate about that particular business, but then you have to just have that professionalism where you are delivering. And I think it's something that we have to get better at.
Yeah, it's actually beyond doing your job. Because, okay, so I have that thought, or I have that perception that if I come to you, or if I'm employed by my employer employs me, I come there, I do my job, but I still expect increase in salary, increase in pay, but I'm not giving more value, but I want more money. It's kind of absurd. If you agree with me, it's absurd. So even as an employer, you're in an organization, do your job, do it well, and do it more than well if you actually want more from your employer. That's just how life is. And I hope people would understand the reason why in wherever organization they find themselves in, they need to own the vision. They need to embrace the vision of the owner, the CEO, because it's beyond that. This is where your source of income is. This is where you eat from. So people really need to understand that part of that. So talk about let's leave the challenges. We've dwelt on that for a while. So let's talk about your wins, your breakthrough.
I think it's really been breakthrough and wins have been, of course, the growth that we've seen in the past few years. Adding 5,000 extra trucks to our group to our fleet list that we have access to. Doing international business. Doing London, doing Turkey, Dubai-based transactions.
Wow.
Well, it's also more about training over 500 drivers to come on board to get vehicles for deliveries, and I'll say most of what's apart from the training and the training school now approved by MBTE.
That's a big win, actually. That's a big win.
Yeah, we definitely have focused on learning and development. We also have Chisco Institute of Logistics and Transport in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, where they are focused on. I think the Senate also approved diploma courses there for transport.
Wow, that's a big one.
So we're definitely very invested in learning and teaching for the supply chain, for logistics, because we see a huge gap in that aspect. But yeah, we see wins coming more in future. I think that we've, even myself, I feel that I've also been very much transformed as a person. So I think that not all wins are external. We have to first of all win internally.
True.
Then it can start to manifest. So leadership has a lot to do. A lot of personal sacrifice, a lot of servant focus to make sure that you are driving and making sure that you're available for mentorship, for carrying people along to ensure that we achieve what we agree. I think that there are definitely more wins coming.
Okay, speaking of sacrifices, you mentioned something about sacrifices. What's the biggest sacrifice you made as a leader? The biggest one?
when you're starting with leadership, you have to care. You find yourself actually being the last person to leave, being the first person to get there, ensuring that focus, that follow up in general, because it's ownership.
True.
That ownership is what makes you the leader, and it becomes easier when you have like minds. When you have like minds and you're able to actually spot people that have that level of ownership as well. That's the only way your business can actually grow. And that's what I've learned over this 13 years I've been out here.
13 years.
Yes,
that's quite a lot. So tell us what you've learned in those 13 years. Just give us some business lessons.
Okay, so business. Well, I started off as a store officer in, looking after spare parts. Moved to head that department of spare parts. Then I moved to being a business development manager. And before I guess I did well. And then I got promoted to a group business development manager. Then I moved to being a director now in the company. So before I started off Chisco Express 3 years ago. So I mean, in those times we had a lot of wins. We've actually moved. We moved numbers. We grew businesses, added customers. So in that process, I mean, one thing I would advise any business leader, young person, or anyone at all that cares to listen is really about value and loyalty. Really about being very, very intentional about the type of people that are with you in the journey. That's what makes or breaks.
Sure.
We need gifted people. You need talented people. You need people that are willing to learn, willing to actually care about what it is that they're doing, want to improve. Communication, feedback. It's really the bane of. I think that people is definitely the most important aspect of a business for sure. And if that goes well, because it's people that give the right feedback and give the right
Sure.
information
Sure.
that you can use to make improvements and all of those things. So it's I think those I would say that very, 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 and of course focus on the numbers, less on the sentiment.
Numbers really important.
Focus on the numbers. I mean, because that's what pays the bills. Focus
True.
on your customer. Your customer is who you learn from. That's what your business is actually about.
True.
I've found that any CEO, really, I found that when you wake up and you're thinking of customers, that I think is a growth mindset.
Yeah, you because you would even be innovative. You'll be thinking of ways to improve to meet their needs.
Really care about those customers, because these are the people that are giving you money.
Yeah, they are paying your bills indirectly, actually.
Directly, not indirectly.
True. That's very true.
Yeah. So I think I've just, of course, I'm still a young man.
Of course, a young man with 13 years experience in business.
Yes, yeah. Thank God for that.
Okay, so what's your future projection for Chisco Express, to be precise?
Chisco Express is looking to add 2,000 trucks to the market. 2,000.
Wow, that's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot. Well, I mean, we need far more than that in the country.
True.
But we have to add it sustainably. We have to add it in a way that obviously, because investors have to get their money back. So we have the experience. We are currently running. We have vehicles that are under ownership, and we have vehicles that are under access. So,
okay,
access being it's not ours, but we have access to them.
Okay.
Right. So, but we realize that for our technology to work perfectly, we need full control of it, so that you can actually give that connected experience that customers actually want. You talked about the driver wahala and all of those things.
Sure.
You can imagine talking to a driver that we can't actually hold
Oh.
responsible per se.
Sure.
They'll just, so that's we believe that would bring about a huge, over 8,000 people, will be feeding indirectly from that.
Sure. So I'm kind of thinking you can hold the drivers accountable directly. You want to use technology, but at the same time, you can't still hold them directly with technology.
Well, we have our ways.
Oh.
We have our ways. I mean, it's they are under employment, so they do have to. We have to work with. It depends on what has happened, but we definitely have ways in which we
Catch them.
That they whichever liability that they have caused will be returned and collected back.
Okay.
So that's what we do.
Okay. So you spoke about drivers owning the truck. So can you just run us through how that works?
Yeah. So we have people either whether it's the bank or people that invest in trucks we paying them back is paramount, obviously. So, and after that, the driver will own a part of the assets, because obviously in the process of driving they're also earning, and when they do pay off the liability, then they can actually get another opportunity to get another vehicle as well.
Okay. So while they are driving, they are paying part of the money to buy the truck?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I think I should sign up for one.
You first learn how to drive, no?
Maybe I can drive, but not a truck. I can drive a bicycle.
We'll test you now.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. So one last thing before we go, we call this the rapid fire question. So we'll just throw questions at you. Nothing serious, actually. But I'm sure it's just something you'll be answering in 1 second. Okay, so let me start. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Vision. Just seeing everything. Seeing vision.
Vision. Okay.
Vision.
Wow, you're really a technology man. You love technology. Something that will make you see the next 100 years. Okay, so let's go to another question. So if you could have a dinner date with anybody, who would it be?
Alhaji Aliko Dangote.
You want to chop the Alhaji money? Yeah. And flow with a big man.
No. It's inspirational. I mean, he's also part of my mentors that I look up to. They're quite inspirational. The kind of vision and not just vision, but to implementation over the past
sustainability. He has been consistent for quite a while
and doing big business. I mean, he has the largest fleet in Nigeria today. Because no one else could actually meet up his fleet demand, so he had to do it himself.
Wow. Okay, so tell us about your most hilarious childhood memories. Something that would make me laugh on my seats, like laugh real hard.
I'm not sure I can find something that would. I mean, there are things that have made me laugh. What I remember, it just keeps coming to my mind. My dad is someone that obviously grew up during the Biafra War, and at that time it was very, very. These guys have very high hunting skills. I think I saw him use a cane to catch an agama lizard. I don't know whether you know how speedy
they just
lizard. So if you can catch that with a cane,
wow. Was it Koboko or the normal?
Yeah, that bulala.
Oh, wow.
That was impressive.
I think if I could remember I won't say hilarious, but I remembered for me while growing up. So my sister and I, we go to school together back then. So then 200 naira would take us to Odrelegba. So we got into a fight and we went to meet my mom that we don't want to go to school together. So we usually lap ourselves in the bus. So I said, Mom, I don't want to go. There was always this complaint of you're too heavy. I cannot carry you, this, that, that. So my mom said, no problem. We were happy. The next day we woke up, okay, we want to go to school. Then she gave me 100 naira. She gave her 100 naira. She just said, when you get to the bus stop, look for who will lap you. Chicken. But it's been amazing. Like I've had fun. It's been amazing and it's been inspiring and insightful. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. And I'm sure people, the viewers out there, they learned a lot from this today. So you heard what we said today, the conversation. Let me just give us a rundown. If you are to pick between skills and character when employing people, please endeavor you pick character over skills, because character is something that lasts for a lifetime. It will sustain your business and also learn from your customers through customer satisfaction. They are your best teachers. They will teach you innovative ways to bring in things that would actually make you scale your business. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm sure you enjoyed this episode. Please do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sabirwriters TV, and also follow us on our Instagram page at Sabirwriters Studios. I'm your host, Olaito Ayedo. Till next time. Bye.